For thousands of years, they've just been sitting there, dominating the desert. These impossible structures that just seem to defy any kind of explanation. But honestly, the biggest mystery isn't how the ancient Egyptians built the pyramids, it's why. Why would an entire civilization pour everything they had into building them? I want you to just picture it for a second. You're out there in the Egyptian desert, and rising up in front of you is a man-made mountain, a perfect shape shooting up into the sky, taller than a 50-story skyscraper. And the crazy part? This was all built 4,500 years ago, without any of the tech we take for granted today. I mean, just try to wrap your head around the sheer impossibility of it. We're talking millions of tons of stone, quarried and shaped perfectly, and they did it without cranes, without modern machines. They didn't even have iron tools. And the precision, it's just staggering. Some of these blocks are fitted so tightly together, you literally can't slide a piece of paper between them. It's an engineering marvel that just makes you question everything you think you know about the ancient world. So yeah, this leads us right back to that central question, why? Why would a whole country spend decades, generations even, pouring all of their resources and labor into building these giant mountains of stone? What on earth could justify that kind of effort? Well, the answer isn't really about power or ego, at least not in the way we think about it now. The real reason is so much deeper, so much more profound. It was all about buying a one-way ticket to eternity. To put it simply, the pyramids existed for one reason. The pharaohs believed they were the key to living forever. See, in ancient Egyptian culture, death wasn't really the end. Nope, it was just a transition, like walking through a doorway into a whole new existence, an everlasting life among the gods. Okay, so to really get this, you have to see the pharaoh not just as a king, but as an actual living god walking on earth. His job didn't stop when he died. His soul had this cosmic mission. He had to travel up to the heavens, merge with the sun god Ra, and keep watching over his kingdom from the great beyond. The stability of the entire nation, of their entire world, depended on him making that journey successfully. So this whole belief system basically created a four-step plan for the afterlife. Step one, of course, the pharaoh dies. Then step two, his body is meticulously, perfectly preserved through mummification. This was a sacred process to make sure his soul had a place to return to for all of eternity. Step three, he's placed deep inside the pyramid, surrounded by incredible treasures. We're talking gold, furniture, even entire boots, everything he could possibly need in the next world. And finally, step four, the pyramid itself would act as the launch pad for his soul to ascend to the stars and become a god. But here's the thing, these pyramids weren't just big, passive tombs. Not at all. They were actually designed to be intricate pieces of spiritual technology, functional machines built specifically to make this cosmic journey happen. It was basically a machine of immortality. Every single angle, every chamber, every hidden corridor was designed with one purpose, and one purpose only, to guarantee the pharaoh was successfully reborn as a god. The design itself was just packed with incredible symbolism. The pyramid shape? Well, that was meant to look like the primordial mound, the mythical piece of land that first rose out of the chaotic waters at the very beginning of creation. So by building it, the pharaoh was kind of recreating the birth of the world to ensure his own. And those perfectly smooth, sloping sides, they were seen as the hardened rays of the sun, a literal stairway to the sky for his soul to climb up. Now, you can't build a machine on this scale, an engine for immortality, all by yourself. This incredible project became a national effort, something that would unite and really define the entire kingdom for generations. So who were the actual builders? Well, this was a massive national project. It took tens of thousands of workers. And despite what you might have seen in the movies, they weren't slaves. The workforce was mostly made up of farmers who would work on the pyramids during the annual flooding of the Nile, when their fields were underwater and they couldn't farm. For them, this was way more than a job. It was a sacred duty, a way to keep cosmic order and make sure their world was stable by helping their god king get to the heavens. But there was a huge, fundamental, and, well, ultimately fatal flaw in this whole grand plan for eternity. The very thing that made the pyramids so incredible, their enormous size, the fact you could see them for miles, that also made them giant flashing billboards advertising unbelievable wealth. They were just too tempting for tomb robbers to ignore. And the consequences? Well, they were pretty much inevitable. After centuries of building these incredible structures, the Egyptians had to face a tough reality. No matter what they did, pretty much every single pyramid was eventually found and completely plundered. So around 1500 BCE, they just changed tactics completely. The age of the pyramids came to an end, and pharaohs started hiding their tombs in secret, unmarked graves carved deep into the cliffs of the Valley of the Kings. So when we look at the pyramids today, should we see them as just these giant, colossal failures? Or are they something else entirely? At the end of the day, these are not just piles of rock or giant monuments to some king's ego. There's something way more profound than that. They are the physical proof, the frozen belief of an entire civilization that was absolutely convinced that death was not the end and that eternal life was totally within their grasp. You know, maybe the best way to think of a pyramid is of an ancient rocket ship. Seriously, its one and only purpose was to be a launch pad, something designed to blast the pharaoh's soul from this earthly world into the cosmic world of the gods. And that leaves us with a really fascinating question to chew on. The pyramids took the full might of a nation, all for one person's afterlife. So I'll just leave you with this thought. In our world today, could we, or even should we, ever justify a project like this again? Something to think about.